Late one evening, I was walking home from the Espacio Cultural, the ministry center where I worked. I was exhausted after a long day and wanted nothing more than to go home and go to bed. Around the corner from the center was the apartment of my friend Zudan. As I walked by, I saw him hanging out on the sidewalk outside his door. I stopped for a moment to say hi. Zudan loved to talk, and soon we were in a deep conversation about spiritual things. Well, actually, he was. I was just trying to get away to go home to bed, and it showed. Here he was, pouring out his heart to me, and I was yawning and looking at my watch. "Well, Zood," I said, "it's late, and I gotta go. Let's get together another time and talk then, okay?" Then he made a face and said something I'll never forget. "How come you're always too busy or too tired to talk to me, man?" It was a cheap shot. Zudan and I had spent hours talking on many occasions, but still, to him, it seemed like I didn't have time for him. That hurt, but also convicted me. I sat down. "Sorry, man," I said. "It's been a long day, I am tired, but if you want to talk now, let's talk." We picked up where we left off. He shared with me some of his constant struggles, a very bad family situation, unstable employment, personal conflicts, depression, and desperation. He had expressed what appeared to be a sincere faith in Jesus for the forgiveness of his sins, but couldn't deal with the fact that he still didn't measure up, no matter how hard he tried. He shared how he felt frustrated because he wanted to be a better person, but he kept falling back into the same old sinful patterns, running with the wrong crowd and doing stuff he knew he shouldn't do. He told me he had gotten to the point that he just couldn't take it anymore. "I have something I want to give you," he said. He reached out his clenched fist. I extended my open hand, into which he dropped a silver bullet. "What's this?" I asked him. "Look at it," he said. It was a large bullet with a silver casing, a .380 or 9mm maybe. Then he told me what it meant. "I couldn't take anymore," he said. "I went up on the roof of my parents' house, loaded a gun with that bullet, put it to my head, and pulled the trigger." "Zood," I began. "But it didn't fire. The bullet was a dud." Sure enough, the primer pin on the bullet had a dimple in it, but the round was still intact. "So I reloaded the gun with another bullet," he continued, "put it to my head and pulled the trigger again. Again, nothing happened. 'What are the chances of 2 bullets in a row being duds?' he asked. He handed me the other bullet. It had the same dimple where it was struck by the firing pin. Chance had nothing to do with it. I said, "Apparently God is not ready for you to die yet. He still has plans for you on this earth. He wants you around for a while longer." "Yeah, that's what I figured," he said. "You always told me that God has a plan for my life, and I guess this is just part of it. That's why I want you to have that bullet, and I'll keep this one to remind me of the fact that God is in control. Look, Zood, I don't have all the answers. I have plenty of problems of my own. Sometimes I just want it all to end too. But there are 2 things that I am absolutely convinced are true. God knows exactly what he is doing, and everything that happens is part of his plan. But how do we know what his plan is? We don't always know, but we don't have to. He is revealing it to us day by day. We feel lost and anxious when we lose sight of the fact that God has a plan and a purpose for everything that happens. He has us exactly where he wants us to accomplish that purpose. We just have to trust him even if we don't understand what he is doing. That is the only way to make sense of this life, amigo. What if I keep screwing things up? We all mess up all the time, and God knows all about it. But when we fall down, we get back up again. We repent and keep moving, trusting God to lead us forward, step by step, day by day. He is good and he will never abandon us, even in our darkest days. God knows what he is doing, and he will accomplish his purpose in our lives for his glory. We talked some more and prayed together, thanking God for his faithfulness and forgiveness, even when we are faithless and unfaithful. I went home and went to bed, thankful for the opportunity to talk with my friend. Sometimes I take out that silver bullet and hold it in my hand to remind me of that evening and how God holds me in his hand every moment of every day. Not long after that, God moved us from Cadereyta to Guadalajara, and I fell out of touch with my friend. But that wasn't the end of my relationship with Zudan. There were still a few more unbelievable stories to come. Thank you so much for listening to this true story from Memoirs of Mexico. If you enjoyed this story, or if it was a blessing to you, please feel free to like and subscribe to my channel. That would be a blessing to me. I upload a new true story every day. If you like to read, you can also order Memoirs of Mexico in paperback or ebook on Amazon.com. There's a link in the description. Thanks again for listening.